sure. Fine.
Dear all, good evening to all. On behalf of Department of Psychology, American College, I welcome you to the first webinar session on psychological well-being of women. With us, Dr. Lata Janaki ma'am is there. She is one of the renowned psychologists in Chennai, and she is having a Joyce Multi-Speciality Psychotherapy and Counseling Center. And there are many clients given positive feedback about her counseling. I welcome you, ma'am, for this wonderful webinar session. Please take over and then give your valuable inputs on the topic. I welcome you.
Definitely, Suresh, Dr. Suresh. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to address and meet many of you. Okay, so let's get into the topic.
Yes.
As you are aware, psychological well-being strategies for women. This was a topic which Suresh has told me to speak about or share my inputs on it. So let me get into the topic. You just listen. It will be more of psychological perspective and the practicality in our life. So if you have any doubts or clarifications, you can note down and clarify it later on through during the question and answer session. Kindly put your phone in the mute mode. Okay. Am I right?
Yes,
Shall we go ahead?
Yes, yes.
Yes. As we are all aware, there is so much uncertainty in the world at the moment. So it is easy to feel overwhelmed by fear and anxiety. But there are plenty of things we can do to get through this difficult phase without being panicking. Being a psychologist, like we know that we are also human, but we know that how the mental and emotional well-being is essential at this moment to balance. If we don't balance, how it affects. So in this topic, I'm going to highlight what is mental health and what are how the psychological well-being affects because of that, and what are the strategies to be adopted in our day-to-day life so as to keep emotionally balanced and live a stress-free life. So mental and emotional well-being is essential to overall health. Positive mental health allows people to realize their full potential, cope with stresses of life, work productivity, and make meaningful contribution to the community, society, organization, and the nation. Early childhood experiences have lasting, measurable consequences in the later part of our life. Therefore, fostering emotional well-being from the earliest stages of life helps us to build foundation a foundation for overall wealth and well-being. So as psychologists, we always ask the clients, please share your accomplished moments, achieved moments, bullied moments, everything, so that it is easy for us to understand the root cause for the trauma or the stress or the anxiety or the depression or whatnot. Okay. Uh, I have picked a few research studies to support the study to understand what is the practicality. The research by the American Psychological Association says Generation Z, that is, which comprise teens and young adults between the mid of 1990s and 2000s, are the most likely of all generations to have more poor mental health according to 2018 survey, which was conducted by American Psychological Association, which also talks about 27% of generation Zers report having bad or poor mental health compared to 15% of millennials, 13% of Generation Xers, 7% of baby boomers, and 5% of the older adults. The generation that struggled the most is Gen Z, because we experience tsunami, we experience flood, we experience corona, SARS, etc., Ebola, everything. So likely to seek more professional support to keep up our mental health in a balanced manner. This is what the study also talks about. So, uh, in order to keep our mental health, the resilience, that's a very positive attitude, positive mental health, and bounce back mechanism, which we call it as a resilience. That I'm going to highlight about it. Having mental health doesn't mean that everybody has everything in their hands. No worries, no financial crisis, no constraints. Everybody has difficulties in one or the other way. I used to always quote this to people, those who are very depressed. ஒவ்வொருத்தருக்கும் ஒவ்வொரு விதமான கஷ்டம். ஒருத்தருக்கு மன கஷ்டம் இருக்கலாம், பண கஷ்டம் இருக்கலாம், உடம்பு கஷ்டம் இருக்கலாம், ஆரோக்கியமா இருக்கலாம், வேற எது மாதிரி. Everybody has some difficulty. This is how we perceive our life. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you have everything. You are not at all experiencing the emotional problems, no disappointments, no loss, and no changes in your life. Very smooth going, bed of roses kind of. These are along with the normal parts of life. We still have sadness, anxiety, and stress. But just as physical health, we give more importance to our physical health. We are not giving more importance to mental health because we just ignore or we are stigmatized, so we just don't give much importance to that. So who could really cope up with this? Healthy people are better able to bounce back from illness or injury, trauma, or strong mental health issues, stress, anything which they experience. They are able to balance their emotions and then bounce back from the adversity. This ability is called resilience. We all have to some extent, but the more we practice, the more we understand this process, it is easy for us to follow this resilience and make it as a instill the thought within us and practice it. So, people who are emotionally and mentally resilient have the tools for coping with the difficult situations, maintaining positive outlook. You might have come across many quotes: a strong woman wipe out her tears and turn back and smile. So this is what called resilience. They remain focused, flexible, productive in bad times as well as good times. They remain the same. Their resilience also makes them less afraid of new experiences and challenges or an uncertain events like how what we are facing today, the corona, COVID-19. Even when they don't immediately know how a problem will get resolved, they are hopeful that the solution will eventually be found. That's how I experience. Oh, I'm not going to be without the client for so many days. What will be the source of my income? And how am I going to spend my time? What am I going to do? Sometimes a thought prop up in my mind said, you are going to waste your 8 to 10 hours of your time without clients, without money, and sitting idle. This is what was the thought. Then I developed the understanding of the current situation. First, I developed the understanding, then the acceptance, and then following it. So there are few things which are not in our control. We couldn't do anything, but we should see that how we make it more useful, productive, quality, time and life we do that. Okay. So whether you are looking to cope with a specific mental health problem, handle your emotions better, simply to feel more positive and energetic, there are plenty of ways to take control of your mental health starting from today. Uh, if you look into the wellness wheel, it has 8 dimensions. It's been increasing day by day from 5, 6 to 8. First one, the foremost is emotional. The second is intellectual, that is where your cognitive works. The physical, social, environmental, financial, and spiritual. These are the factors which boost our mental health. So, even we can opt as biofitness, biopsychosocial, spiritual model we can opt. I strictly follow that. That with solution focus perspective, therapy perspective, I follow that. So, anyone can suffer from mental or emotional health problems over a lifetime. Most of us do that, or even a partial time. Studies and research, WHO also says that 1 out of 5 of us will suffer from diagnosable mental disorder in the upcoming years. Yet, despite knowing that how common mental health problems are, many of us don't make an effort to improve our situation because due to the stigma, we ignore the emotional messages that tells us. But I should say that over my practice of 10 plus years, 14 plus years, I have seen literally there is a good amount of percentage of awareness is really raising high among the public, and they are approaching. So the emotional messages that tells us something wrong, when the child is so silent, when the child is thoughtful, when the child is crying, or when the person is becoming going silent and not interacting with anybody, not getting up from the bed, these are all the indicators. Something wrong, and try toughing it out by distracting ourselves. We are not sharing, we are not venting, we are not opening up. So we ourselves don't want to share our emotions or feelings with somebody so that they can understand and help us. We don't want. We just shut. We create a shell and be within that. Okay. So these are instead, after this, what they do, they just go on self medicating, distracting themselves with alcohol, drugs, self destructive behaviors. So we bottle up our emotions and problems in the hope that others won't notice. We hope that our situation will eventually improve on its own. Yes, I have heard my clients saying that, Doctor, I didn't, some of them, one of you, one who is currently again came back to me for the session. He said, I came to you. It was, when I talked to you, it was so nice that I used to feel that I should follow. But after I leave you and go, I go back to my own shell. And over the period of time, everything changed. And when things started, becoming very challenging, I felt this is when I need my support. I need your support. So I came. I said, I'm so happy that you came back to me, and with a better realization that what you missed out, what you are supposed to do, and I hope this time you will certainly work with me in the long run, so that there will be a total behavior modification uh, will happen, and you will turn out to be a wonderful person. So, uh, as I was telling you, the situation when eventually improve on its own, we assume that yes, situations are improving. or we simply give up, telling ourselves this is just the way we are. It's okay to be like that. It will go on and on, off, on and off. That's all. The good news is you don't have to feel bad. These are practices you can adopt to elevate your mood. There are many more practices which I'm going to highlight. Become more resilient and enjoy life more. But all it needs is a sincere, rigorous effort to build and maintain physical health. So it is with mental health because healthy mind resides in a healthy body. We have to work harder these days to ensure strong mental health simply because there are so many ways that life takes us a toll on our emotional well-being. Let's ponder our thoughts on this. Why are we often reluctant or unable to address our mental health needs? Our inability to address our mental health needs stems from variety of reasons. In some societies, mental and emotional issues are seen less legitimate than physical issues. They are seen as a sign of weakness or somehow as being our own fault. I can also quote you the current situation. See, the doctors, those who are really treating the COVID patient, the doctors, those who have died, people are not willing to come forward and help them. Instead, it's like a gratitude. They don't do that, but they protest. They say that we will not bury or we will not allow the funeral happening at our place. Where is the humanity? One side we show so much of concerns, care. Other side, the person, selfless service people, those who have been spending the critical moments to in treating the patients, what are we giving them? We need to think. We need to sensitize, create the awareness, make them understand. So some people mistakenly see mental health problems as something we should know how to snap out of, right? Men, especially, would often rather bottle up their feelings than seek help. And we also conclude them, oh, they are non expressive all the time. In the modern age, we are obsessed with seeking simple answers to complex problems. We look for connection with others by compulsively checking social media instead of reaching out to people in the real world. We have become self centric. To boost our mood and ease depression, we take a pill rather than address the underlying issues. We leave them as unresolved. Many people think that if they do seek help for mental or emotional problems, the only treatment options available are medication, which comes with unwanted side effects, or therapy, which can be lengthy and expensive. The truth is that whatever your issues, there are steps you can take to improve the way you feel and experience greater mental and emotional well being. And you can start from now on. So, I would like to highlight on how people with a mentally healthy people will we can be identified, or how will they behave, how can we look up at them. They will have a sense of contentment, a zest for living, and the ability to laugh and have fun, the ability to deal with stress and bounce back from adversity, a sense of meaning and purpose in both their activities and the relationship, the flexibility to learn new skills and adapt to change, a balance between work and play, rest and activity, etc., the ability to build and maintain fulfilling relationships, self confidence and high self esteem, and relationship bit. Okay, you are saying that, but how are we to do that? We know some, but still we are unable to do. So I am going to teach you the tips or the process how to follow it. Coping with a specific mental health problem or handling your emotions better or simply to feel more positive and energetic. There are plenty of ways to take control of our mental health by ourselves, or when it is needed, we can seek the professional help. So, first strategy is make the social connection a priority. We are living in a collectivistic country where we had a joint family system, and it turned out to be a nuclear family, and now it is living together. If you want, you can stay, or don't want, you can just walk out. So I'm a single. The people are very proud in saying that I am single, kind of. Okay, so they can be individualistic. This westernized thoughts have really taken a rapid change in the culture of Indian culture, and it has changed the entire scenario in our country. So, especially face to face, the most of the time, except this COVID 19 lockdown period, and my clients who lives in abroad, I make it a point the client whom I do counsel should I should meet them, or I should see them in the audio or video and Skype. Otherwise, I don't provide a telephonic. Although research has proved that telephonic counseling is effective as face to face, I always strongly believe in that non-verbal cues, and that gives me more information about the client than what I gather out of the talk. Okay, so I'm a people person, social person, so I always like to have a face to face. So this social connection is a priority. No matter how much time you devote to improve your mental and emotional health, you will still need the company of others to feel and function at your best, because the nature has been created by the creator for no single individual. He has created it. What we don't we exhale, the plants are breathing in. What they exhale, we breathe in. So there is an interconnection. Interdependency is being created by the nature itself. So there should be little dependency, connectiveness along with the environment where we live and the people surrounded us. Okay. So humans are social creatures with emotional needs for relationship and positive connections to others. We are not meant to survive or let alone thrive in isolation. Our social brains crave for companionship, even when the experience has made us shy and distrustful of others. Yes, most of the clients are nowadays know they say, Doctor, I have trust issues. I feel I'm quite happy being alone. Yes, this is the condition. Let me tell you why the face to face connection is very important. Phone calls and social networks have their place, but nothing can beat the stress busting, mood boosting power of quality face to face time with each other. You can express your love languages. Through that, you can show your excitement, happiness, sad, or whatnot. The key is to interact with someone who is good listener, someone you can regularly talk to in person, who will listen to you without their own conceptions or judgmental or how you should think or feel. A good listener will listen to the feelings behind your words and won't interrupt, judge, or criticize you. Almost all the counselors and psychologists follow the ethics, they maintain the confidentiality. So they don't share, they are always unbiased, non-judgmental. So you can go to the counselors and psychologists and share and look solution for your emotional issues or mental health problems. Reaching out is not a sign of weakness, and it won't make you burden to others. Most people are flattered if you trust them enough to confide in them. If you don't feel that you have anyone to turn to, there are good ways to build new friendships and improve your support network. Of course, now the technology has made us our world. Any corner of the globe, you can develop the network and make relationship and friendship. In the meantime, there is still a great benefit to interacting face to face with acquaintances or people you encounter during the day, such as neighbors, people in the checkout line or on the bus, or the person serving you your morning coffee. All this matters. Make eye contact and exchange a smile, a friendly greeting, or a small talk. Yes, I have developed friendship when I used to go to the walk to the bus stop or station or my workplace. When I meet the people on the same time, we develop good friendship. Or even in the hospitals when we visit, keep meeting the people at the same time. We just greet, smile, introduce, initiate a talk, and be in connection. So here I'm going to give you the tips for connecting to others. Call a friend or loved one now and arrange to meet up. Of course, COVID is there, remember, but this is for the other than the rest of the time. COVID now you can connect with the through the network, through social media or what do you call phone. Okay, full connection, WhatsApp, and so on. If you both lead busy lives, offer to run errands or exercises together. Try to make it a regular get together. It's an opportunity to meet and share and but don't develop a dependency. If you don't feel that you have anyone to call, reach out to acquaintances. Lots of other people feel just as uncomfortable about making new friends as you do. So be the one to break the ice. Reconnect with an old friend. Invite your coworker out for lunch or ask a neighbor to join you for a coffee or tea. Uh, in foreign countries, there are people will be on in a center where people will be sitting. Whoever wish to go and talk to them can go and talk. Not not necessarily that whom you are talking, you don't have to introduce. Just talk whatever you want to talk. They will be a listener, passive listener, not an active listener. This is one type. Second is they are bringing out so many methodologies. One is you can vent out or share and go off. So you will have a relief. There are people where, especially elderly people, geriatric counseling, it is very much essential. That's why we suggest people to go for volunteer and help others. I will be talking about all those in detail. So get up from behind your TV or computer screen. Communication is largely non-verbal experience that requires you to have direct contact with the other people. So don't neglect your real world relationship in favor of virtual interaction. If we have this virtual interaction, the true emotions cannot be, words stay as words, and true emotions cannot be understood or sometimes it is ignored. That is one of the reason which I see in many of the relationship when they break, they live their life in texting itself. So the next point is be a joiner. Join networking, social or special interest groups that meet on a regular basis. These groups offer wonderful opportunities for meeting people with common interests. Don't be afraid to smile and say hello to strangers you cross paths with. Making connection is beneficial to both of you, and you never knew where it may lead. Second is, staying active is as good for the brain as it is for the body. The mind and the body are intrinsically linked. When you improve your physical health, you will automatically experience greater mental and emotional well-being. Physical activity also releases endorphins, positive endorphins, powerful chemicals that lift your mood and provide added energy. Regular exercise or activity can have a major impact on mental and emotional health problems, relieves stress, improves memory, and help you to sleep better.
Ma'am, Lada ma'am, sorry to
Yes.
we are having only less than a minute. This session will end in another minute, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am. 40 minutes only we should be there. We will join in the same link again, and then we will have the remaining presentation and question and answer session. Is it okay?
okay.
Is it okay, ma'am?
Yeah, no issues.
It will be disconnected in a minute. Dear participants,
Okay.
please sign in the same link for question and answer session, and the remaining presentation will be done by the expert. Thank you.